Nick, where we are now, this is our furniture factory, and obviously furniture starts with the raw materials.
Yep.
And we use a laminate veneer wood, which we're going to have a look at, and we also use solid wood. We use an American walnut and a European oak.
So this is the stuff you're turning into boat interiors?
Exactly, exactly.
Wow.
7 tons of hardwood per week.
No way.
Every week is used. So
7 tons a week?
7 tons a week.
That's insane.
And that's your door frames. Anywhere where you're going to touch is always solid wood.
Right.
Always solid wood. Anywhere where it's a door fascia or covered fascia will be one of the laminate or veneers. And the veneers we process 3,000 every week. While we're here, so that's a hardwood, but also that's how we make our air conditioning grills. So a solid piece of walnut or oak for air conditioning. The hardwoods go through to the right hand side, and that's where they get turned, or the fiddles or one of the banding machines. And then we have 10 of these CNC machines cutting out the various shapes we need for the furniture.
Okay.
So this will come from a large sheet, and it's tongue and grooved, pre-drilled for the hole screws, as well as whatever shape we need.
And this is the code?
Exactly. Well, E2 is an 80.
Yep.
And then you can have an 80Y, an 80S, or an 80X.
Right.
This looks like it's actually for a Y.
Yep.
And then it's ready. Once they've cut this, it will go to the racks for the furniture. So a bit like we saw how the machine was making out of foam to make the whole molds, very similar process to cut the wood out and pre-drill. And these are part of the 3,000 sheets we cut every week. Horizontal grain, vertical grain, open grain, which is a satin finish, or closed grain, which is a gloss finish. This is our silver oak, which is going to be satin, and then you've got our walnuts in a gloss. Now, that's quite nice, but we think it should be slightly better.
Right.
To make it princess. So we'll paint it, which we'll see in a bit.
Okay.
So there's your one sheet. And what's clever about this is an N7 and an F6 are completely different boats. So we're trying to maximise what we get out of every sheet. So multiple boats will be cut out from single sheet.
Wow. Ah, that's it happening?
Yeah. You stand on the black and we'll stop.
All right. It's actually cut out on the other side of there.
Cutting out the tongue and groove now, so you get a perfect fit.
Right.
As well as pre-drilling the hole.
You know, from over there I thought that was a TV screen. Couldn't work out why it was moving.
Quite a repetitive movie.
Yeah. And that's all dust extraction, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What this machine's doing is banding. So when you cut wood, you obviously have a raw finish. And what we need to do is make that look like a finished article. So we've got one coming down the conveyor belt. You see? Put the edging on it, make it look completely finished.
This is what happens to this one next.
This is going to be next.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So once the furniture's cut, it goes into one of these racks. And each of these racks is a complete piece of furniture.
Right.
And what we're waiting for now is the picker to come along, collect the furniture, or collect the pack as it were, take it through to the carpenters.
Okay.
We have 140 carpenters next door who then construct it into the finished article.
Wow.
What's always quite amazing is, you think of when you design a boat, you design the hull and what it's going to look like.
Yep.
But you need to design everything. Whether it's a widget or cut out to save weight.
Yep.
But that is vital to maybe a K9 is a 72.
Right.
It's vital to making sure that the vanity unit stays together.
Yeah,
TV surrounding.
Yeah.
Once we get to furniture, all the boats are in production. So this is it. different part of what we do. So the orange racks around the shop floor, that's where a designer's idea becomes an engineer's reality.
Okay.
So we're quite famous for a lot of curvature and a lot of use of wood. What we use is solid bits of wood, whether that's for bed surrounds we use plywood, for what clients can see will be walnut or oak. We stick multiple layers of this together. It goes into this big green machine, which is a microwave. That sets the glue. So we put 6, 12, 24, however many we need. And it gives us the ability to make any shape we want to.
With you.
Very strong.
Yep.
Doesn't fail. So there's no warranty claims, which is good for the client and good for us. And it's very cost efficient. So ultimately, if that was a solid piece of wood, the owner has to pay for it. If you use multiple layers, it becomes a more cost efficient way of doing it.
With you.
So what we just saw next door. So this is, some of your viewers might recognise it. That's a handheld that goes around the dinette on a 65, an S65 or an S65, and then the table bit goes in the middle. That's what you hold on to.
Okay.
That's made up of multiple layers.
Wow, look at that.
So these are what we call our fiddles, again labelled with whatever the boats are. E2 is the 80, and they've been processed by these banding machines behind us to create whatever shape. Maybe a door frame, maybe something a little bit more delicate.
Yep.
Again, all specific to each individual model. This is our door press. So we make all our own doors as well.
Okay.
So depending on what door it is, we have a bolster core, something a bit heavier. If you want a bit more weight to the door.
Yep.
And then we stick either side, and then the feature in the middle.
Ah, so that's for the stainless steel.
Exactly, or leather or whatever we're working with.
Yeah.
That's the press.
Okay. Wow. So that's literally sort of sandwiching it together.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Amazing.
And here you have where all gets turned into the furniture. This is our furniture factory, 140 carpenters. And let's see what they're making. So this is looks like the vanity on a Y95 in the forward cabin on the main deck. So if I lift that up, it's still being built, but that's what the mirror goes to.
Yep.
Here you have the matching. Yeah, so this is a hardwood, which will be made. Anywhere where you can touch is always a solid hardwood.
Right.
Drawer fascias, like you can see here, cut out one sheet, so you have a matching grain.
Yep.
Pre-drilled the switches. But as you see, this is a piece of furniture. Yeah.
So that'll be ready to just drop straight in at the final assembly.
Yeah, the leather will be put onto it.
Yeah.
Lift up, it will go from here.
Yeah. Fantastic.
This piece is fairly in the early stages, but you can see where we're always trying to make everything as light as possible. So we pre-cut out the matrix, which is the guts of the unit, to try and make it strong but light. Okay,
so the idea is that could be a solid piece, but by taking those sections out,
your engines aren't working unnecessarily.
Yeah, gotcha.
So this is one of our veteran carpenters, Martin. Do you want to explain what you're making here?
Yeah, this is the TV unit for the
Y80. Yeah, Y80.
Okay.
This is just a small section of the unit. TV is housed here, obviously the automated lid.
Gotcha.
There's quite an extensive panelling system. So there's a lot of these pre-formed curved slats, so you can see them there. I'm now starting to cut them to shape.
Okay.
This soft field panel is fitted in and around, and these all go into it. They follow the complete line around the side of the saloon. So you've got the sofa.
How long does it take you to make it?
This is around 60 hours.
60 hours just for this piece?
Yeah.
Wow.
There we are.
Yeah.
I kind of added up how we get to that 35,000 hours per boat.
Absolutely.
And the TV surround is 60 hours.
Yeah,
of course, that's my assembly time. So obviously all the guys that are making all these RM pieces.
That's what we saw next door.
Formed individually out of laminated layers, which are all glued together and pressed.
So that's separate to that?
Cut down. Yeah, so that's a separate machining time. And obviously, again, you've got all the sort of CNC components. With this, you've got some sort of stainless steel pieces. So that brings in the metal shop to this as well. So Yeah, there's a lot of elements coming together for one unit, but yeah, the 60 hours is really one sort of assembly time.
That's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Thank you very much indeed. That's appreciated.
Thank you. When you see it like that, I thought they were solid wood.
Yeah, yeah. It has the look of it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's the galley.
Of course.
These drawers.
Yep.
And then where the oven drops in.
Okay. Yep.
Nick, one of the interesting things I think is what you don't see.
Right.
Yeah, it looks all very pretty from what you see on the outside.
Yep.
But it's all the structure that goes into it. So when we stick the furniture together, it's screwed, glued, and the tongue and groove.
Right.
It's very strong, which is why we're trying to strive for not having that rattle. You know, a boat moves, it twists, it moves at sea, and you want the longevity. You don't want it to start making noises after time. But so when you see behind the scenes how much goes in that you never see.
Amazing.
For some drawers, basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fantastic.
Staircase for a F65.
Yep.
And when we're designing bits for a boat, what you've got to remember is they've got to be multifunctional. So it's not just a staircase from the main deck down, and also where the washing machine goes.
Okay.
So it's the storage for the washing machine. TV would potentially go on that bulkhead.
Yep.
There's also where your cupboards are.
Remarkable.
And again, there's that solid wood.
Yeah. That's what we saw go together earlier on. Yeah. Yeah.
Once we've made the furniture, the next thing is we need to paint it.
Right.
So that's the raw material, and that's what we're seeing here. This is ready to go into the paint booths. So that's a wardrobe for a 95 by the looks of things. Obviously we have to stain the hardwoods, and depending whether it's a gloss finish or a satin finish, depends on how many coats. So more galleys there.
Yep.
It's a bit of a quarantine area before we get into the next stage.
Okay.
When you make, again, furniture, this is a wardrobe.
Yep.
The backs of the wardrobes are removable because you're going to have pipe work.
Of
Or
course.
filters coming out of the water tanks or the black water tanks. You need to get to those.
Yeah.
This has all been painted and is ready now to go to the trucks to go to the delivery line. So, got a nice piece of oak furniture here. There's a beautiful vanity unit actually, isn't it?
Yeah, that is work of art, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just waiting now to have the leather put on the top.
Right.
So we have two large ovens. So these are double ovens and spray booths here.
Right.
And then another one either side. And depending on what we're painting, so if it's a satin finish, it has 4 coats and then 2 top coats on top of it. If it's gloss finish, we do 4 coats, we do what we call a denib, so it's a polish, another 4 coats, and then 2 top coats on top of it. And that's what gives us that deep shine. And
Yeah, yeah.
deeper. So they're sprayed, then the ovens are cooking them so they post-cure, and they're ready to come out and be finished before they get prepped for shipping to the production lines. There you go, look at that.
Ah, okay.
And you can see how it's got, when we saw it before, it had a shine, but it wasn't quite as deep.
No, indeed.
And now we obviously match.
That's amazing. Yep. Fantastic. So that now will go to the assembly.
Exactly,
plant.
that will get protected, and then it will go onto the truck, and then it will be shipped either to Langage, where we make a range of boats, Lee Mill where we make our range boats, or to Newport Street where we're going to go.
Perfect. And that's another oven there.
That's another one there, double-sided, so the first one's empty and the second one's got stuff in.
Okay.
Solid surfaces. So this is where we put our stone surfaces on the boat,
I'm with
galleys
you.
or in the bathrooms.
And that's what this is along here.
Obviously you can have avonite, you can have granite, you can have marble, whatever.
Yeah.
More furniture. There you go, this one's got the stainless steel. This is what Martin was talking about, edging.
Yes, of course.
This is going to have a sink on it. There you go, you've got your drain hole for your sink's going to drop onto. And then this will be stone back, and there your taps.
Right. So that is actually, it's on its side, effectively. It's going to rotate through 90 degrees, have a top on it, have a sink in it.
And there's your plug.
Right.
So you know, that's your flush for your toilet. I think it's going to have a toilet just here, that's the flush.
Yes, that would make sense.
And more, it's being protected, ready to go onto the trucks. There's a table. This is what we saw being made earlier, actually.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yep.
Handheld.
Amazing. Staggering, isn't it? Absolutely staggering. Look at all this stuff.
We don't scream and shout about what we're doing green-wise, but we use reasonably responsibly sourced wood. So all of our wood, whether it's hardwoods or our laminates, are responsibly sourced. We reprocess all of our wastage. So when you'll see there's a lot of wood chips that we've made, we turn that into pellets, and that goes off to be sold and used in fireplaces. We're doing our photo cells, and also key to it is trying to make our holes as efficient as possible.
Right.
We really are.
Yeah.
So what we've got here is we have 3 shops, and they're making what we call canopies and spiders, which for everybody else is called hard tops. So this is a V50 hard top, or fly bridges.
Okay. So this is a V50 top, but obviously it's upside down.
Exactly.
With a sliding roof.
And then you've got a fly bridge for something, can't quite work out what it is over there.
Yeah.
Looks like a smaller one here.
I see. Yep. Yep. That makes sense.
So they're made of 3 parts really. You have the top with an opening section in it.
Yep.
And then the sides, and then we stick it all together.
Okay. Wow. So this is the components that go to make the things that we saw a second ago.
This is what we saw the machine making.
Yep.
And this is stage 1. We've got the gel coat in, and then we put the fiberglass on top of that.
Right.
And then the core, and then more fiberglass, and then you have the finished product at the end of it.
Amazing.
See at the end, the nearly finished one, ready to go out. So this looks like an S72. We've got a table pedestal ready to go onto it.
Yep.
Helm, whip aerials are on. The navigation lights are on, so it will literally go to the boat, be fitted, be bolted in place.
Yep, and it's done. There's the sliding roof.
This is the rear of that mast being infused, so you can see really no air left in there until when the vacuum kicks in, and it's actually warm to the touch.
Okay.
And this is a Y80 fly bridge.
Look at that. Ha. That would make a pretty decent sized boat on its own, wouldn't it?
They're just big jigsaw puzzles.
Yeah.
So these are all our current moulds.
Okay.
We need somewhere to store them, so they have a cover that goes over the top of them, and this is where we store them. Luckily it's plastic, so it's waterproof.
Yeah. I still can't quite get over the fact that those are your own police cars. That's fantastic. And what's the idea of having your own police cars specifically?
Because most of our movements are very wide load,
Right.
And quite often we have to do a rolling roadblock.
Right.
It's only the police who can shut the roads.
Okay.
So if you imagine moving the hull of the S80 or even the flybridges, they're quite wide.
Yeah.
So we have to either shut the road or do a rolling roadblock, and we need the police's assistance to do that.
Okay.
We have our own escort vehicles for the smaller stuff.
Yeah.
But we need the police now and again. And
So you contract in actual police, presumably?
we do off-duty policemen to drive them.
Yeah.
If we use on-duty police and there's an emergency, then that becomes their priority.
Of course.
Obviously.
So then they abandon you in the middle of the A38.
Well, yeah, which can cause a bit of disruption to the residents of Plymouth. So we
can
try
imagine.
and use off-duty because then they're dedicated to us to move the goods.
Now, you were telling me about this bridge.
Yeah, well, back in quite a few years ago when we were making our 25 metre, which I think was in the early noughties, we had I think about a 10mm tolerance on this bridge here.
Right.
So the tyre pressures of the trucks had to be quite well monitored because it wasn't a huge tolerance to get underneath it, and it gets quite expensive when you get boats stuck underneath bridges.
I can imagine that could be a bit awkward.
Yeah.
And were you saying that you have to come down the wrong side of the A38 with some of them?
So all the boats from Langage, which is just up to our left there,
Yeah.
bridge that crosses the A38 is at an angle,
Right.
And it's too low on one side than it is on the other. So part of the police escort is to shut the road and bring the boats down on the opposite side.
So they come down the wrong side of the dual carriageway,
Yeah,
and
at
then
night.
loop at night,
Yeah.
and then loop around under the bridge on the side that allows clearance.
Correct. And then they all come down the road we're going down now.
And this is like a 4 AM operation, I guess.
Very much so. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. And on the weekends, or if anyone's out having a good night, you can imagine coming out and seeing an 80-foot boat moving past at 4 AM in the morning.
On the wrong
On
side.
the wrong side, you have to check your eyes.
So where's our next stop?
So we're going to go now to the production line. So we're going to go to Newport Street, which is where we build a range of boats. We build the 72 there, we build the 45, we build the 80s, the 3 different models in the 80 range, and the 85. And we're going to go straight to the production line and see how everything we saw in koi pool is put into the boat.
So that's basically where they're assembled.
Exactly. See where those 15,500 hours go now.
Yeah. Brilliant.